speak now to Associate Professor and Research Specialist in Water Resource Management at the University of South Africa, Anja du Plessis. Prof, thank you very much for your time this morning. Maybe let's take a look at a South Africa-wide analysis of this, and you can tell us your understanding of what the problem is.
So if we look at from a South African perspective, we obviously have various factors which affect our water availability, our quality, and our water supply. So in terms of looking at our water availability, we're obviously a semi-arid country, to arid country, and water is one of the highest risks within the country right after the unemployment crisis. Unfortunately, most of our water withdrawals are already exceeding levels of sustainable supply, with many areas already achieving or fast approaching where all accessible freshwater resources are fully utilized. So dry taps are a regular occurrence for citizens living in rural areas and villages such as Bushbuckridge, Belfordine, small towns like Jacobsdal. Additionally, no access to safe and reliable water supply and or basic sanitation services, and is also a pending crisis in terms of that. So our water crisis is many problems together, and they obviously differ from one context to the next. So if we look at Bushbuckridge and Belfordine, they are rural settlements. The problems that they mostly experience are no water for days, weeks, or months, and that's why you see numerous protests there on a frequent basis. And then an example of Jacobsdal is where they also experience a lot of water outages, basically also due to the dilapidated infrastructure that they have to be dealing with. And I've seen some videos of residents sending it to myself as well as other researchers showing mud coming out of the taps. So our water situation across the country, and especially now the past 2 weeks within Johannesburg, has been quite depressing. And the reaction towards this issue in terms of all parties, where firstly it started with the blame game, then it started to get quiet, and now it's almost on a defensive stance to say that no, everything is working, everyone will have water by the end of Friday, or by the end of Saturday, or by the end of Sunday. So no obvious timelines can be given. However, it would be nice if we as the public as well as other experts, can see the action plan that they are referring to, and to say also that also what is the reconfiguration of their systems at Rwand water side as well as then as Joburg water side. And if you looked at Joburg Water's announcement or media release last night, where it basically once again said Linden Reservoir 1, Waterfall Tower, as well as Polarina Towers are all empty. And they have blamed that on the strain on bulk supplier, which is basically Rand Water. Why they don't say the name, I also don't know. So strain on the bulk suppliers, waterfall system affecting Randburg and Roodepoort. So that's basically due to low flow. So now once again, Johannesburg Water is blaming Rand Water for saying that, the reservoirs are now empty because there's no inflow or very low inflow from Rand Water. So I don't really understand why Joburg Water and Rand Water can't seem to work together. There are very few media statements made by Rand Water, and that's also an issue for residents, because at the end of the day, we would like some transparency to know what are the exact problems within the system. Maybe some of us can assist in terms of skills and expertise. So it's not to say that we want to point the finger and see, what problems or what poor decisions they made. It's just to see that, listen, are we on track for Johannesburg to mostly recover from dry taps that we've been experiencing the past 2 weeks And unfortunately, as I said, now with some of the other water towers being empty once again, that shows you that there is a problem. And second of all, if you look at the X-feed related to Joburg water, it's areas across the city of Joburg. It's not only Randburg and Roodepoort that are complaining. There are people in Soweto, in the CBD, all over the show, where people are still saying that, listen, they had a little bit of water, it was low flow, and now they don't have anything once again. And that usually refers to poor pressure within the system, or that reservoirs are once again particularly low or empty.
Okay. What leads to low or empty reservoirs, right? So when you speak of ailing infrastructure or old infrastructure, that infrastructure relies on humans to make sure that it is maintained. And so when you offer a solution of skills and expertise, yes, we are beyond blame game. We want solutions now. But what is it? Is there no money? Is it a lack of the skills that you are offering and expertise? What exactly is it? How do we help? Is it residents not meeting their obligations? Are we using too much water? What is it?
So, okay, let's first look at how we got to this state at this point in time. So, obviously it was a lightning strike at the Eikenhof pump station that's being managed by Rand Water. So, as soon as that happened, had electricity outages, which then affected some of their pumps. City Power restored power to those pumps, but obviously we need to remember Eikenhof is not a very small facility. It's a major facility made up of major pipes and pumps. So if there is electricity outage there, it's not something like to say that, okay, we're going to put on the generator and then it's going to work once again. So that was the issue, point number one. The second issue was then obviously Joburg water's reservoirs running dry, and this is partly because of no flow from the Eikenhof pump stations, but then also consumers using water from these towers and these reservoirs. Now, it seemed that I think it was 2 to 1 day where we started to see people having absolutely no water coming out of their taps as well. That then refers to a major buffering capacity issue with Johannesburg water. So what I mean by that is that if something like a power interruption or an issue at Eikenhof pump station happens, that you have some kind of contingency plan at Joburg water to say, okay, the flow is going to be affected by this much. For us to keep pressure within the system, we need to throttle it here, or we need to close this valve, open that valve, and manage it in such a way so that usually you have, like, if everything works, you should have a buffering capacity of 48 hours. So that's 2 days. And as we've seen with the infrastructure in the city of Johannesburg, basically being degraded, some of it collapsing. If they do fix the pipes, it's not fixed properly or up to standard. So again, if load shedding happens and pressure comes in from pipes once again, if the pipes aren't repaired up to standard, they burst once again. And as we've also seen that if we do report infrastructure issues to Joburg Water, on average they take 3 days. Fix the pipe, and then, as I said, in most cases they have to come back and refix it. So in terms of that, that affects your finances now as well. What is the budget that has been given for the maintenance of water infrastructure in Joburg? I'm sure it's millions of rands. I know that there is a backlog in terms of fixing pipes. They said that they have to fix like 100 kilometers of pipes within the Joburg area, and they've only fixed 40 kilometers over a period of time. And we're all coming up to the elections, so I don't know what is going to happen in terms of, how are they going to save face after this debacle over the past 2 weeks. But yes, it's got major impacts in terms of your financial resources. If they don't have that, then there's an issue in terms of human capacity, people that have the proper skills, The city of Joburg did make a comment on KFM, on which I responded, is to say that they are saying that we have up to date modern technology at Joburg Water and within the municipality. And yes, it should pick up A, B, C, and D, and everything is working. But we're now sitting at Saturday morning. People are still complaining of absolutely dry taps. And it just shows you once again that you can have state-of-the-art technology and systems. If you don't know how to manage it or actually to interpret the results or data that's given to you, it's very difficult to actually manage the situation that we are unfortunately sitting with.